You ever look at someone and say, man, they got it all, the job, the money, the looks, the luck, and then turn around, look in the mirror and say to yourself, I could never have that. Now tell me something, who told you that lie? Because I know it didn't come from the one who made you. See, the problem ain't them having more, the problem is you thinking you're meant for less. Let's kick it off right, Dr. Peale, why do people always feel like others are more deserving than them? Where does that doubt even come from?
Steve, that question cuts to the core of what holds so many people back. The feeling that others are more deserving, it's not rooted in truth. It's rooted in fear, and in many cases in years of subtle messages absorbed over time. From childhood, some people are told, not in words, but in tone, in reactions, in silence, that they're less than, less talented, less worthy, less likely to succeed. That belief, once planted, doesn't just sit there. It grows into insecurity, into imposter syndrome, into that aching voice that whispers, you're not enough. But I want to speak to every listener directly. You are enough, not because of what you've done, but because of who you are. You were created with purpose, and purpose doesn't discriminate. It doesn't favor the wealthy or the loud or the perfectly polished. It favors the willing. You see, Steve, the reason people think others deserve more is because they confuse visibility with value. They see someone on a stage, on a screen, or living in a big house, and they think that must mean they're more important. But visibility is not value. You can be unseen and still be worthy. You can be uncelebrated and still be. The most dangerous lie a person can believe is that greatness is reserved for other people, that success is only for those born in the right place with the right connections, but history proves otherwise. The world is full of stories about people who had nothing, no support, no blueprint, and yet they rose. Why? Because they believed they could. Belief, Steve. That's where it starts. Before the job offer, before the platform, before the recognition, there must be belief. You've got to wake up and tell yourself, why not me? Not in arrogance, but in quiet confidence. The kind of confidence that says if someone else can do it, I can learn, I can grow, I can move forward. And let me tell you something else. If you're feeling unworthy, that's not a disqualification. That's a signal that it's time to rebuild how you see yourself, because the truth is God doesn't make mistakes. And He didn't start with you.
Let me tell you something. Comparison is a thief, and it got sticky fingers. It'll rob your peace, your confidence, and your joy faster than a thief in the night. You're sitting there scrolling on your phone, watching everybody else win. But let me ask you this, are you measuring your value by someone else's highlight reel? Doc, when I started out, I didn't have no blueprint. I didn't even know what the blueprint looked like. I just knew I couldn't keep watching everybody else live while I sat still. But it took time to break free from that mindset. So here's my question. Why are we so addicted to comparing ourselves, and how can we stop it?
Steve, comparison is one of the most subtle destroyers of potential. It often begins innocently, a glance at someone else's success, talent, or beauty. But before long, it becomes a habit, and that habit turns into a prison. The problem is we never compare fairly. We compare our behind the scenes with someone else's front stage. We know our flaws, our setbacks, our stumbles, but we only see others' victories. And when that happens, something dangerous begins to form inside us: resentment, self-doubt, and the feeling that we're always lagging behind. But Steve, here's the truth. God never intended for you to be anyone but yourself. You were created with your own path, your own timeline, your own calling. What makes a rose beautiful isn't that it grows like a sunflower. It's beautiful because it grows as a rose. When we compare, we start editing our identity. We trim our uniqueness to fit into someone else's shape. And in doing so, we lose the power of authenticity. But the world doesn't need another copy. It needs you, the original, the real, the raw version. Here's how we break free. First, we recognize that comparison is a choice. You choose what you focus on. If you choose to constantly look sideways, you'll never move forward. Second, gratitude is the antidote. When you start appreciating your journey, even the messy parts, you become anchored in who you are, not who they are. And third, and this is key, you have to believe your story matters, because it does. Your journey, with all its ups and downs, carries power someone else, but you'll never discover that power if your eyes are always fixed on someone else's path. So I say this to anyone listening: stop measuring your worth with someone else's ruler. You were handcrafted, designed with purpose, and your lane, it was made for you. No one can walk it the way you can. And when that little voice inside whispers, "But look at them," you answer back, "Why not me?"
Man, let me tell you, fear will have you sitting on the runway your whole life, engine running, but never taking off. You keep waiting for the perfect time, the perfect setup, the perfect you, but life don't come with perfect. It comes with pressure, and pressure makes diamonds. I was scared out of my mind when I left that job and chased comedy, slept in my car, broke, hungry, but I was more afraid of not trying. I said, if I fail, at least I failed doing what I was born to do. Doc, why does fear of failure paralyze so many people, and how can they break through that wall?
Steve, fear of failure is a powerful illusion. It tricks the mind into believing that staying still is safer than moving forward. But the truth is, not trying at all is the greatest failure of all. Most people aren't afraid of failure itself. They're afraid of the feelings that come with it: shame, judgment, disappointment. They've been conditioned to believe that making a mistake means they are the mistake. That's a lie. Mistakes are proof you're reaching, stretching, living. You see, courage isn't the absence of fear, it's moving forward in spite of it. Even the most successful individuals felt fear. They just didn't let it drive the car. They used it as fuel. What we must understand is that failure is not a dead end, it's a detour. Every fall is a lesson. Every setback carries insight. The people who grow the most are the ones who risk the most. You never grow sitting comfortably on the sidelines, and I'll tell you something else: fear magnifies when you stay idle. The longer you wait, the louder the doubt becomes. But action, any action, silences fear. A small step forward disarms the giant. Suddenly what looked like a mountain becomes a hill. The key is to reframe failure. Don't see it as final, see it as feedback. Say to yourself, this didn't work, so I've learned something that will help me try again smarter. That mindset transforms failure from an enemy into a teacher. And don't forget the spiritual truth: you were created for purpose, not perfection. Your Creator isn't asking you to be flawless, He's asking you to be faithful. Show up, try, stumble if you must, but don't quit. So to anyone standing on the edge, scared of the leap, hear me now: fear is loud, but it's not Lord. It doesn't rule you. Step out even if your knees are shaking. You might fall or you might fly. And when fear whispers, "What if you fail?" you shout back, "But what if I succeed?"
Listen, social media got everybody thinking they behind in life. You see somebody driving a Bentley at 25 and you start questioning your whole purpose at 35. But let me tell you, comparison is the fastest way to kill your joy. It's like drinking poison, hoping it'll help you grow. I used to look at other comedians getting big breaks and think, why not me? But I had to learn, God ain't forgot me. My lane was still under construction. And when it opened, man, it was smooth drive. Doc, why do people fall into the trap of comparing themselves to others, and how can they break free from it?
Steve, the comparison trap is a silent thief. It doesn't just rob people of peace, it steals their confidence, clarity, and contentment. And in this digital age, it's more dangerous than ever. People scroll through highlights of someone else's life and measure it against the behind the scenes of their own. But here's the truth, comparison is always unfair. You don't know the full story. You don't see the nights they cried, the struggles they hid, or the years they spent building what you're admiring in a snapshot. Each life is a unique journey. No two paths are alike. You can't rush your timing based on someone else's clock. Just because their chapter 20 looks glamorous doesn't mean your chapter 3 isn't powerful. The antidote to comparison is gratitude and focus. When you start truly appreciating your own life, your own growth, even the small wins, you begin to feel empowered. You stop looking sideways and start moving forward. Another danger of comparison is that it makes people chase goals that aren't even theirs. They start wanting things just because others have them, not because it aligns with their calling. That's how dreams die, not through failure, but through distraction. You must understand your journey is sacred. Your life has a divine fingerprint on it. Nobody else can live it for you. And when you commit to your lane with your pace, you begin to experience peace. You begin to enjoy the ride, not rush it. And always remember, success isn't a race, it's a revelation. The day you stop looking left and right and start looking inward, that's when you begin to rise. So if you ever feel behind, pause and ask yourself, who told me I was supposed to be somewhere else by now? Because often, the race we think we're losing doesn't even exist.
Let me tell you something real. Most folks ain't stuck because they don't have talent. They stuck because they scared. Scared to fall, scared to fail. But here's the truth. Failure ain't the end. It's just education wearing a disguise. Man, I failed so many times it should have been my middle name. Slept in my car, got booed off stage, missed out on jobs, but every single L, it was teaching me something. I ain't lose. I learned. Doc, why is fear of failure so powerful, and how can somebody finally break free from it?
Steve, fear of failure is one of the strongest forces keeping people from becoming who they were meant to be. It whispers lies into their mind like, what if I'm not good enough, or what if I try and it all falls apart? But let me remind you, the greatest risk in life is not taking one. Fear is a natural emotion, but it becomes dangerous when it takes the driver's seat. And often what people fear isn't even real. It's imagined rejection, projected embarrassment, or the unknown. They let these shadows grow larger than their dreams. But here's the truth. Failure is not fatal. It's formative. Every great leader, every inventor, every visionary has a trail of failure behind them. Why? Because trying and failing is how we learn, evolve, and rise. When a baby falls trying to walk, nobody says, well, maybe walking ain't for you. No, we cheer them on. That's the same grace adults need to give themselves. I encourage people to reframe their failures. Don't call it defeat, call it development. Don't see it as the end, see it as instruction. And don't wait for fear to disappear before you act. Courage is not the absence of fear, it's moving forward in spite of it. Remember this, the pain of failure lasts a moment, but the pain of regret can last a lifetime. When you step forward in faith, even if you stumble, you're still further ahead than the one who never moved. So the next time fear whispers, what if you fail? You answer back, what if I fly? Because sometimes the only thing standing between who you are and who you could be is the step you're too afraid to take.
Everybody want the blessing, but don't nobody want to wait on the process. We want microwave results in a slow-cook world. But let me tell you, anything real, anything lasting takes time and consistency. Man, I've been grinding since the 80s. Ain't no overnight success here. I was telling jokes in clubs when folks was falling asleep in the crowd. But I kept showing up, kept putting in the reps. And look at God now. Doc, talk to me. Why do people give up too soon?
Steve, the human soul has remarkable potential, but one of its greatest challenges, waiting. Patience is not a weakness, it's a spiritual strength. And consistency, it's the bridge between dreams and reality. Most people start out with excitement. They set a goal, feel the fire, but then time stretches. Obstacles come, results are slow, doubt begins to whisper, maybe this isn't for me. And that's when many walk away right before the breakthrough. What they fail to realize is that success is rarely about massive action. It's about small, faithful steps repeated over time. It's in the everyday, not the extraordinary. You water a seed daily long before you ever see it sprout. That's how it works in life too. The real question is not, can I do it fast? It's, can I stay with it when it's hard? The people who transform their lives forever are not always the most talented. They are the most faithful, the ones who kept showing up when no one was clapping. You must learn to trust the process. If your goal is worth it, then it's worth the wait. Every day you stay committed, you are building something inside you and around you. And let me tell you this, slow progress is still progress. The caterpillar doesn't become a butterfly in a day, but one day it does, because it didn't quit in the cocoon. So I say to anyone listening, be patient with the process and be consistent with your effort. The harvest will come, but only if you don't walk away before the season turns.
Let me tell y'all something real. Failure ain't the enemy, it's the teacher. See, most folks scared to fall, so they never even jump. But you can't soar if you don't leap. Man, I done failed so many times I lost count. I've been broke, slept in my car, been told no more times than I heard yes. But every time I failed, I learned something. Failure didn't kill me, it built me. Dr. Peale, why do people let failure stop them instead of shape them?
Steve, failure, what a misunderstood word. Most people treat it like it's a dead end. But in truth, failure is a detour sign pointing toward growth. You see, the fear of failure often begins in childhood. We're taught that mistakes are bad, that imperfection means shame. But I say this, failure is not the opposite of success, it's part of it. Every successful person you admire has failed repeatedly. The difference is they didn't stop. They evaluated, adjusted, prayed, and got back up. Fear of failure paralyzes people. It whispers lies like, what if you're not good enough? What if you try and they laugh? But those are illusions. The real failure isn't falling down, it's refusing to get back up. I want people to shift their perspective. Instead of asking, what if I fail? Start asking, what if I don't try and miss my purpose entirely? God never promised life without trials. He promised strength to endure them. Every stumble can become a stepping stone if you let it. Steve, I believe failure is sacred. It humbles us, it refines, it clears the clutter from our character and teaches us what success alone never could. So I say to anyone who's failed, good, that means you tried. Now get up. Learn, adjust, keep walking. Because the ones who succeed aren't the ones who never failed, they're the ones who never quit.
Man, comparison is a thief. It'll sneak in your mind and rob you of your peace, your joy, and your purpose all in one night. I used to look at what everybody else had, TV shows, success, fame, and wonder, why not me? But I realized their lane ain't mine, their story ain't mine. My blessings were tailor-made, and they came right on time. Dr. Peale, why do so many people lose themselves trying to live someone else's life?
Steve, you said it beautifully. Comparison is one of the greatest destroyers of confidence, and it's more dangerous today than ever before. People scroll through social media, flipping past curated images of perfect lives and think, I'm behind, I'm not good enough, I missed something. But what they're looking at is not truth, it's a highlight reel. You see, when you compare, you diminish your own gifts. You ignore the unique path God has carved for you, and worse, you start measuring your worth by someone else's progress. Comparison turns purpose into performance. It changes who am I becoming into am I better than them? And that question is always empty. The truth is your journey is your own. Your timing is your own. Some flowers bloom in spring, others in summer. The oak tree and the rose were never meant to grow at the same pace, but both are beautiful in their season. If you want joy, stop looking sideways and start looking within. Ask, what has God placed inside me that no one else has? Then nurture that, water it, be faithful in your lane. The people who succeed are those who understand that their only competition is who they were yesterday, not who someone else is today. I urge anyone listening, put down the mirror that reflects someone else's life. Pick up the mirror of truth. See yourself, your gifts, your journey, your worth as divinely designed. Because when you stop comparing, you finally start living.
Let me tell y'all something. Every no I ever heard in my life was just God clearing the path to a better yes. I remember sleeping in my car, doors locked, wondering why every door I knocked on stayed shut. But if they had opened too soon, I would have settled. That rejection, that wasn't punishment, that was protection. Dr. Peale, why do people take rejection so personal, like it's a final verdict instead of a lesson?
Steve, what you said is profound because rejection feels final when you don't yet understand its role in your growth. Most people experience rejection and think, that's it, I'm not good enough. But the truth is, rejection isn't the end, it's often the beginning of divine redirection. It's a message not of failure, but of refinement. Think about it, if every door opened, you'd walk into rooms that weren't meant for you. You'd settle for situations beneath your potential. But when the wrong doors close, the right ones eventually open, and you're better prepared to walk through them. Rejection forces you to reevaluate, to strengthen your resolve, to realign with your purpose. Sometimes God shuts a door because what's on the other side would destroy your spirit or delay your destiny. But here's the key, don't let rejection define your worth. Let it develop your wisdom. Some of the world's greatest breakthroughs came after repeated rejection. The people who kept going, who believed in their calling more than they feared people's opinions, they're the ones who made history. So the next time you hear a no, say thank you, that's not where I belong. Then keep moving with faith, because every rejection moves you one step closer to the place where you do belong. And remember this, if you're being rejected, it means you're trying, you're showing up. And that in itself is proof you haven't given up. So lift your chin, strengthen your spirit, and walk on, because the right yes is still waiting.
You ever notice how folks can hype everybody else up, but when it comes to themselves, they go quiet? Man, let me tell you, the words you speak over your own life, they're seeds. Plant wisely. I used to wake up and call myself broke, unlucky, unwanted, and guess what? Life kept giving me more of that. But the day I started speaking life, that's when it all started to shift. Dr. Peale, how powerful are the words we speak over ourselves?
Steve, there is immense power in the words we speak, especially those we say to ourselves in quiet moments. Most people don't realize that every thought, every phrase is like a spiritual command. When you say, I can't do it, your mind obeys. But when you say, I am capable, I am chosen, I am ready, your spirit begins to align with strength, not defeat. We are often our own harshest critics. We whisper insults to ourselves that we'd never say to a friend. And yet those words take root. They affect our confidence, our decisions, our outlook. The solution: speak life. Choose affirmations over accusations. Every morning, say something empowering to yourself, even if you don't fully believe it yet, because eventually belief catches up to repetition. Say things like, I am built for this. I walk in purpose. I don't chase approval. I move with conviction. And Steve, you're right, words are seeds. The mind is the soil, and repetition is the water. When you combine those with faith, you grow a new self-image, a stronger one, a more resilient one. So I urge everyone listening, guard your tongue, speak carefully, intentionally, and kindly, not just to others, but especially to yourself. Because when you speak life, you invite life, and the echoes of those words can carry you through storms you thought you couldn't survive. The person you're becoming is listening. Make sure you're telling them the right story.
Listen to me, y'all. If you're waiting for someone to give you permission to believe in yourself, this is it. Ain't no secret sauce, no magic ticket. It's just faith, work, and the guts to say, why not me? Because if it can happen for them, it can happen for you too. Now go on, walk like it's already yours.